Hi. So here's a weird thing that I've noticed that a lot of us are reflecting off of each other to the point that it's a bit like I think I've mentioned this before, repetitive, like a mirror. You're reflecting something else that somebody else is also reflecting. Um, it's like, for example, some people don't want to be acknowledged because they feel like if they being looked at or anything, they feel judged, hated, and unwanted. And if they being looked at, they feel like they're being laughed at. Like the anxiety tells them that the person in front of them is completely tearing them apart and telling them all kinds of weird things. Um, I think that's kind of like more like the ego masquerades itself with the whole like fear and anxiety and all that stuff, and he tells you all these lies. He starts calculating weird stories in your head, and here's how I ended up kind of noticing the difference. There was a time period in my life when I believed that everything around me was reacting to me and that there was something wrong with me. Because if people looked at me like and they giggled, I thought they were looking at me to giggle at me, judging me because something's wrong with me. But other times, you're just laughing, ha ha ha, and your eyes just caught the person. And I ended up finding that out because just like that, how I felt like that, somebody else ended up mentioning it. They were like, oh, I thought you were laughing at me because you looked this way. I'm like, no, I was just laughing and my eyes just happened to look. So what's happening here is mistaken situation. We are miscalculating the situation. We are mistaking what's going on. A lot of us are either deep in thought and just had a very nasty thought in their heads, and then they get cold and then they look up because you caught them in that moment. So that stare and look was never even meant for you in the first place, but because we are so butthurt and because we are so full of anxiety, there's a little bit of that. Full of anxiety, full of taking things too personal because there's that's us taking it too personal too. It causes that. It causes misunderstandings. It causes a lot of barriers. It causes a lot of just feeling like you're completely disconnected, but you don't know that you are also doing this disconnection yourself, just like I was doing this disconnection. A lot of people looked at me and said, man, you look pissed off all the time. I feel like you hate me. I feel like you want nothing to do with me. And all I am doing is just so distracted with something else. I'm not even acknowledging you're even there. But here you are getting offended over my angry looking face that was not even reacting to you in the first place. So here I am, left all alone by myself, because a lot of us do that. Even I have done that, where I have misunderstood the entire thing just because I was like, oh, I did not like the nasty look. Oh. I think that's the Leo part. But there are moments when we just need to chill the hell out and just laugh about it and recognize that we need to stop taking everything so personal and that we are always in our minds. And that is the reason why we're always so reactive about everything, because we are trying to be the badass in the made up story that we're making in our heads, that we then become very reactive, radioactive. So next time you feel that way and that anxiety is telling you all these rapid lies and all this bullshit, do recognize that it happens on cue. Meaning that it only happens when you're in crowds, so it's like a nervous tick. You already know that it's there, you know that it's gonna happen, so ignore it. Because otherwise, you are literally putting yourself on the rabbit, not the rabbit, the hamster wheel. You are literally putting yourself in the hamster wheel of anxiety, because if you already know that every time you pick up a phone or every time somebody rings your bell, you know, you kind of freak out, because I'm one of those people. You need to stop reacting to that. Recognize it. Do know about it, but then don't let it rule you. Don't let it be the guiding stone of your life. Otherwise, you're gonna keep asking why, and while you're holding the stone that is holding you down. Why? And I know that sometimes it's not easy to recognize, but this is why you need to be patient with self, so that way you can recognize these patterns and these things that are in your way. Because most of these are just ideas in your head, things and ideas.